Get ready to chomp. TV20's Florida Football Preview Special.
Sponsored by Allen Law.
Hello and welcome into the TV20 Florida Football Preview Special. I'm Steve Ross. We're going to talk about the upcoming Gator football season, and what a way to kick it off. We're going to bring in an esteemed media panel to talk about the Gators, the SEC, and what's going to come up here. We're going to start with Zach Alberverdi. He's from On3 Sports, covering the Gators. You all know Jake Ronhold, TV20 Sports Director. This guy needs no introduction. Chris Doring from the SEC Network. Edgar Thompson, longtime beat writer for the Orlando Sentinel. Fellows, welcome. Let me start with this. Look, I understand the quarterback position is the one that gets most of the hype, but it's gotten crazy with Lagway. So let's start with this. The time that he has missed, how important is that, or isn't it in his long-term development?
Who are we talking to? Me here?
We're off
and running, everybody.
Good night. You start.
You introduced me as an SEC Network guy, but I was a player first and foremost, and a receiver, and I understand the offseason, particularly with new receivers coming in, what happens in terms of building chemistry, in terms of building rapport. J. Michael Sturdivant coming in, Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, even Trey Wilson coming back from an injury last year, didn't have a ton of time to work with DJ. So missing spring the way he did, missing some of the OTAs and off-season stuff, missing the beginning of the camp, that's time you can't make up. We're worried about him being healthy and being back out there, but how about what you needed to do in terms of developing that relationship that's not going to be able to be in place as it should be after the summertime? And
Edgar, you talk about Lagway, but there's been other injuries in this team too that have been of some concern.
Oh, for sure. And Trey Wilson is coming off a hip surgery, banged up some in camp. Dallas Wilson's missed some camp time, and he set all the records in the spring game. So, people are excited about him. Vernell Brown sees the opportunity, though. A lot of people are happy about him. But really, to the Lagway thing for a second,
sure.
I mean, it's consumed the offseason.
It has.
And it's consuming what we do. Every Monday we come in, and that's the story we end up writing. And so, for our sake, DJ, get healthy. But really, for this football team, he's going to need to get healthy. The last thing on him is I know he doesn't want to develop the reputation of being, injury prone. But since he started with Florida, if you remember the Under Armour game, he might have been there.
Yeah.
He got hurt there.
Yeah.
He was banged up going into last season, coming out of last season, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But he needs to shed kind of that whole fragility tag, let's say.
Jake, when you look at this Florida team, most people think this is Billy Napier's best team. Do you?
Yes, I actually do, because of all of the players that they were able to retain during this time. I mean, you look at it from his first year to this year, is that he had 44 transfers in his first year, second year 17, last year only 8. So that is a step forward with this team. And also, you see these guys just all buying in. They're really excited about this season. I mean, you have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 starting offensive linemen from last year. And compared to that, with the sacks that they only gave up 20 sacks. That's between Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway, and Aiden Warner. That's third in the SEC. And now you're getting all this talk about Jake Slaughter and Najee Harris. And then you forget about, and this is why I get so annoyed with the DJ Lagway conversation, because we're not talking about how good this running game can be. Because you got Jaden Baugh, you got Katie Daniels, you got Jacoby Jackson. I mean, between those two guys, I mean, you had at least 20 of the 26 touchdowns, including Montrell Johnson Jr. Imagine what you're going to have with Katie Daniels and Brian Lewis and all of these players out there. So I understand the Lagway conversation is important here, but we also need to talk about why Billy Napier continues to emphasize the running game so he can keep the pressure off DJ Lagway, because this is not supposed to be this air raid offense that everybody thinks it's supposed to be because of all these receivers. It's all about the running game. That's where it's supposed to start.
But wins and losses are important, right? Schedule, no schedule. So, again, what's acceptable here in terms of where Billy Napier is in his relationship with the fan base? What's acceptable now?
I think bare bottom, they got to make improvement. You got to improve that win total from a year ago, which is what he did in 2024. You get 8 wins last year. I think everyone wants at least 9 in 2025.
9 regular season or 9 with the bowl game?
9 with the bowl game would be great, but
Now,
9 in the
that makes
regular
sense.
season,
9
you might be talking about a
with the regular
playoff.
season schedule that they have, they'll be in the playoff.
Okay.
9
Yeah,
that's what I think
will get
too.
them in
There
the
you go.
playoff.
I like that because 2022. I mean, you look at the way that they ended the season. They lost 3. 2023 they lost 5. Last year they won 4. So I mean, get that momentum that you had from the end of last season and bring it into this season. 9, 10 wins, maybe possibly getting a chance at the college football playoff. That's a good starting point from there. And then you can take advantage of that next year and become one of those national championship contenders.
Schedule, it's still tough, man. I mean,
Yeah.
people aren't talking about it, but so you were talking about how many wins. I mean, I think 8 would be acceptable.
I also
think
think
9 people would be very happy, and 10 people would be ecstatic.
There's some must-win
And that's
games,
possible.
too. I think
Like?
they have to win at Miami. You have to
Yes,
get that
yes.
W.
Okay.
And I think losing the way that they did on the road in Rocky Top, I think you need to get revenge on Tennessee, especially late in the year, losing against a rival. I think that's an important
This league,
one.
you got to win your home games. Man.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
getting
No
the swamp
question.
back to what it was. I think you mentioned the Texas game. I think that's going to be a massive one. I like Florida in that game. You go handle your business in the swamp, and it makes the rest of the schedule much more
Correct.
manageable.
It also helps things too that Billy Napier, since he got here, he has been 5-2 at home the last 3 years in a row. So that actually helps his momentum as well. But like you said, yes, you got to win your home games, and you got to beat Miami. I mean, you had Carson Beck. He had 3 interceptions last year with Georgia. Now imagine it's an ACC team. It's Miami, and you're trying to remember 41-17. That should be like a bulletin board or picture or something like that in your locker room at that point. That is a game you must win. If any of the away games outside the SEC, that is the one to win.
And he has an elbow injury he's coming off of.
Oh, look at
And
that.
by the way, they
There
won't let
you
the
go.
Cavalier twins on the sideline, which is creating some issues in the locker room.
So, do you guys like to open with LIU? I was curious about
And
that. We were
love
talking
this
about
guy.
before.
They couldn't have asked for a better season
My
to have
goodness.
an opponent like that to
Yes.
open with.
Game one
Stanford
I like
was
for this
busy.
group because of the schedule ahead.
Don't
Because-
sleep on
because of
USF, though.
Lagway.
USF is good.
Yes.
Alex Golish has done a nice job down there with the Bulls.
Do you guys think Lagway plays in the opener? Putting you on the spot.
Ooh.
He
won't play the
sorry,
full
I'll
game.
say this.
Not
I've
full-time.
tore my Achilles in the NFL. I have also had a calf strain. Like, you don't mess with that. It could be feeling perfectly fine, and then you go to push off, and now you're right back to where you were. I think they're going to be overly cautious as they have been with him. And I'll say this about Florida, my alma mater. I love them, but they do such a good job in giving resources to trying to get him healthy and to also fix the things that are making him injury prone. So I do think they're doing everything they possibly can to get him out there. I think he plays, but I don't think it'll be much.
No, because we got to see Tramel Jones and Harrison Bailey. I mean, who's going to be that number 2 quarterback in case Lagway goes down? So you want to be prepared for that.
Aiden
Use
Warner.
that game or Aiden Warner. Use
And you got to
that
have
game.
him. You got to have him week 3 when you go to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, no
But
question.
doesn't he need some, he needs some reps? At
Agreed.
USF, you have to have
Okay,
him ready
what kind
for
of
that.
Play him a little
So-
bit and get him out.
Yeah, and USF, have them ready. And I think USF is going to not challenge the Gators, in terms of winning. But I think they're not going to be a pushover.
I'll say this: if
They're
Florida
going to make them
can't,
earn something.
if Florida can't handily beat Long Island without Lagway or without him playing much, then they've got a problem.
Yeah. One last thing here. Should there be a commissioner for college sports?
Nick Saban.
That's just a popular question.
That's a
wants no
layup.
part.
That's a popular answer.
That's a layup.
Should
like
there
it.
be one? Is it a good idea to have one?
I think so.
course
Scott
there should be.
Strickland we had a conversation a long time ago, and I wrote in the headline that he wanted a college football commissioner. He did not like that. He called me, in fact, and was like, I didn't say that.
All right. Let's end. How many wins for the Gators?
I'll go 9. I won't say if it's regular season or bowl game included, but I'm gonna say 9.
I'm going big, go home. I'm going 10.
All right,
Heck
double
with
digits.
it. I'm going 10. Heck with it.
9 for me.
I like that.
I'm going 8-4.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah. See, I've been saying 9 all along, so I have to stick with it.
It feels good to actually know we're not talking about 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins anymore.
is.
Now it actually feels like, hey, now we're back.
I
going
will say
forward
this, and
football.
I
Yeah.
like what you said about the run game and the running backs,
Yeah.
but Bill Connolly put that top most important 40 players in college football out a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think DJ Lagway, there's nobody that has a team that has a higher ceiling or lower floor given their quarterback availability. So I know you think, hey, well, it's going to be guaranteed 8-9 wins. he's not out there, I think we're talking about a team that could be 500 or below.
Oh, sure. And
That is
Conway
fair.
had him 12th, and I was like,
Yeah, it seemed
hold
way
on,
too
12?
low, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I thought he might be like
Okay,
one or
then,
two.
pump the brakes.
I think we should note that those are our record projections with a healthy DJ Lag.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
With the asterisk there with that, right? Yeah, I think
We'll put that in
No
graphics.
doubt.
We could go on talking forever, but
Yes, we could.
Zach Albaverdi, Jake Rongholt, also my buddy Chris Doring, Edgar Thompson. Thank you for being here, fellas. Appreciate it. Our TV20 Florida football preseason special continues. Stay with us.
It was my pleasure to sit down with a couple of women that you don't see with Florida football but help make Florida football. Katie Turner, the assistant AD of recruiting strategy, led the charge behind a top 15 recruiting class in 2023 and top 10 from 2024 to 2026. More on the recruiting face of the Gators.
It all started, my dad was a little league coach. I would hang out with him and I would run around with the players and I would, love to throw the football. Being from Buffalo, we're diehard Bills fans, diehard. And he had season tickets for 30 years. That's kind of where it all started. That was the catalyst. That was that feeling that I get going to the games and the memories and the traditions. That really stands out to me.
Was there a moment in a Bills game or something that you're like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do with my life? Or what was that kind of pivotal moment for you?
Yeah, I would say I knew I loved it, but I didn't really know if there was a path for me in football. And I think it really started when I went to the University of Alabama for college. There was an application that came out to be a student volunteer. And so I applied, but seeing my supervisor, she was the one making all the itineraries and delegating it out to all of us. And she was really making it's a puzzle, and she was making all the pieces fit of, okay, you're going here at this time, you're going to academics at this time. I need you to bring him back, and he's going to be meeting with the running backs coach, and then he has a meeting with Coach Saban at this time, and she was delegating it to 7 of us at one time, but I loved that. That seemed I was like, I can do this.
At Alabama,
Yes.
as a student, all your recruiting classes
Yes.
were #1 recruiting classes. And
Yes.
you fast forward till now, where the Gators, this season, they had a top 15.
Yes.
Next season, they have a top 10.
Yep.
And the season after, they have a top 10 recruiting class as
Yeah.
well. How do your skills translate? How are you able to make that happen? Because that's incredibly impressive.
I would say it kind of goes back to just trying to think ahead and trying to be ahead of the curve. You definitely need a lot of support around you to make sure that the product that you are selling to these recruits and their families is top notch. But then once it's a level playing field and you all have kind of the same things, I think it really does go back to just the people.
What is the primary difference in the landscape now with transfer portal? I mean, you look at J. Michael Sturdivant, all these huge recruits coming in. What's the primary difference between recruiting someone out of high school and recruiting a transfer portal?
I'm smiling because they are so opposite. So out of high school, it's really rolling out the red carpet and every competitive advantage that you could think of, you are thinking outside the box to really try to win this recruit over.
Yeah.
Whereas in the transfer portal, it is such a business decision.
How important is it to have a brand like Florida and playing in the SEC, because it
Yes.
does mean more
Yes.
in recruiting, and how much easier does it make your job?
And I think that, of course, yes, the SEC, it's just in my opinion, a no-brainer, but I'm also biased to that. That competition that you're getting every single week, it is a tough game. And so I think that those recruits that are, they're wired that way, that's who comes to the SEC, where they want to play against the best and they want to be in the best conference. And that's the kind of guys we want on our team too,
And what does it mean to you to be a female face of the Florida brand and recruiting?
Yeah, I am so humbled. I just really, really want to make Gator Nation proud. I really want to make Coach Napier proud. And I think that it just goes back to that, I'm just working so hard and I just want us to see results, and I want us to, I just want people to be proud of what we're doing here.
And Savannah Bailey, the Senior Director of Player Relations in GatorMate, a player-focused initiative to develop each football team member in the swamp and beyond. So first of all, you're entering your 4th season here. What has changed the most since the day you stepped through the door to now?
Well, we stepped in right as transfer portal, NIL, everything was new. And I think, to me, the thing that's most changed from the student perspective has been buy-in. That to me is pivotal to the success of the program. And so having that trust in our coaches and our staff and each other, that to me is what propagates a successful season. And so to see those steps be taken, in spaces that people have no idea is happening, I would say is the biggest change.
And can you kind of walk me through your day-to-day, what that looks like? Because you have such a broad title, and I'm sure it changes every single day.
No day is the same because you're dealing with 120 individuals that are all at different levels, that have lives totally separate from each other, but are expected to do everything as a team, right? And so you have to approach it from an individualistic side of what does that person need? How can I meet them where they're at, whether it's in something educational based or personal or maturity, social, emotional intelligence, all of those things. The last thing that I want for any player is to not know what to do when their time is done playing. My job is to make sure they have what they need. Those players have what they need. The alum have great transitions.
You've spoken extensively on the culture that Napier and kind of just that Gator culture in general in this building and outside of this building. But what does it mean to you to be a female in this program?
I think it means that I'm trusted to do my job. I have a lot of autonomy. I get to provide a lot of perspective. I see it as a great honor to represent a lot of really incredible young people and a lot of really incredible alumni. And if I'm something that can connect those two or connect those three or, provide opportunities in something else, that's a big deal for me.
Coming up after the break, our very own Steve Russell sits down with head coach Billy Napier and hear from even more from your favorites taking the field. Don't go anywhere. The Florida Football Special. We'll be right back.
TV20's Florida Football Preview Special.
Sponsored by Allen Law.
Year 4. It's where it all comes together, right? For Gator fans, they hope it is their year. Well, Billy Napier takes what some are saying his most talented roster to the college football playoff. TV20 Gator insider Steve Russell sat down with Napier, and also a few players dropped by, and their universal mindset is the same: return to the SEC Elite.
Billy, you've really taken the time when you first got here to slowly build and get the team that you want and to make things in your way. Are you satisfied with where you are with that now?
I don't know if I'm ever going to be satisfied, but I do think that in a very challenging time where the game was evolving, and look, it's a bumpy road early. Some of that investment paid off last year in particular. I think our kids, the makeup of our locker room, and we had built connection that I think was lasting. And then they kind of grew up and started to play better football. And I'm hopeful we can keep some of that momentum and this group, up for the challenge. Let's go do it one more time.
Look, I feel like we could have the best corner room in the whole country. It's a lot of guys just like myself, tall, long, can run, and just honing in on that technique aspect and improving that as best as we can.
Just allowing us to, just him putting us in the best position just to go faster, play together. So it's great. It just means we know the work that we put in the off season. We know what we have in this building. We know the coaches, the players. We worked hard the whole off season. We put, intentional work together every single day. We say it's not about the work that we do, it's about how we do it. So we know what we're capable of and we're ready to display it. That's all it means.
Yeah, I feel great about our team. And I do think this is a greater good game. I think you have to practice a certain way to develop the team, and sometimes there's going to be some casualties that come with that. But in general, we are making progress, and we have more competitive depth than we've ever had.
Well, football is a very physical game. So, what I'm saying? Anybody can go down at any instant on any play. Mm-hmm. So those guys need to be ready at all times. We all need to be ready to see the field because, as we saw last year, we had a lot of injuries as well, man, and some young guys like me and Aaron had to step up.
And giving DJ and the reps, no reps, whatever that is, but in your mind, what he did last year to this year, Billy, where does he have to make the most improvement?
Well, the first thing is he has made a lot of improvement. I think he's cleaned up from a fundamental perspective. I think his feet are much better. I think his motion is much more efficient. The ball is spinning at a different rate, the velocity of the ball. He's really went to work on the details of playing the position. And then, the other area that gets overlooked is really the guy wasn't in a leadership position to start the offseason. He was just trying to survive. and now it's his team. So I think some of those strong leadership traits that he has, those are rubbing off on the other players.
But have you had time to reflect on that and all the changes in the game just since you came here?
Yeah, it's been one heck of a journey. The playoff, I mean, there's been quite a bit of evolution. But look, what a blessing, man. What an incredible opportunity to be the head coach of the Florida Gators. You know, so these are things you dream of your whole life. And sometimes I don't have control of these circumstances. I want to make all these people that I've had a chance to meet proud, you know, and I think our players feel the same way. And look, I think we're close, I really do. So this will be the best football team we've had, but more importantly, I think the character makeup of the group, the quality of men in the room, their connection, their relationships. I mean, this group's going to play, and they're going to play hard.
Is it hard sometimes, Billy, to not hear the outside noise?
I think in the beginning, I think it was challenging, but I think I've gotten to a point here where, like my mom is probably the biggest truth teller in my life, if that makes sense. And, at certain points after games, she's like, look, if you don't play any better than that, they're not going to be happy. So it's not that you lose, it's how you lose. And I think for me, I'm probably my own worst critic. Our fans deserve the best. They've experienced it before. And I think that was part of the challenge coming here because I grew up in that era. That's what I remember of the Gators. So nothing will make me more happy than delivering. I think I was brought here to do a job, and we're working extremely hard to deliver on what we initially started. It's a challenge worth pursuing, is what I would tell you.
That'll wrap it up for the TV20 Florida football special. I want to say thank you to everyone who made this possible. The people behind the scenes did a great job bringing this to fruition. And a special thanks to our sponsor, Allen Law. And of course, you, the audience. The starting point to the 2025 season come next week. Action will speak more than words. For TV20 Sports, I'm Jake Rongold. And as always, go Gators.